Oh man, where do I even begin with this? You see, I was really looking forward to this beta, but after playing for, since early access, I guess you could say, I walked away very disappointed. And there are a lot of egregious things in this. BF6 is going to be going gold like what, September? So like in about a month. What we're playing right now is a beta. This is a feature complete game that we're playing. There are things in this that like cannot be fixed without delaying it. Or I guess maybe addressing it like maybe months down the line. Because one thing that I've noticed, people are complaining about the TTK, whatever. I think it's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. The problem is it's kind of all over the place. Like it's very inconsistent, it seems to me, because you could pump someone full of fucking lead sometimes and they don't go down. You could even get the drop on them and do that, and it doesn't seem to have much of an impact. It's like very luck of the draw. But one of the biggest issues with this is how small the maps are. And it's not just because they're small. There's other factors that go into that, okay? Now, I've noticed, and it's happened to me, and I've done it just to see what the limitations here are, but you can like shoot into people's spawns. You can lock on to people from their spawn and fucking destroy them. That is a problem that's been addressed and corrected 14 years ago. Think about that for a bit. That's going to kill the game for people. It's obvious. It's obvious that they don't have the team play in the larger scale. They don't have it down. The first objectives, at least in that one map in the beta, you can peek down into their spawn and you can fucking shoot rockets and shit in there. And on top of it, you can just lock on and use stingers. You can also fly right over it, pretty much. There's a little bit of a limitation there, because then you start getting shot down by that Iron Dome type thing. This is the problem. If you get one team that's like significantly like more competent than the other, I foresee situations where there are going to be people that fucking spawn trap the other team and just fucking annihilate them like they did in Bad Company 2. And that is going to kill the game. And partly the reason for that is, again, because they are too damn small. These maps are too damn small, man. I wish they were able to foresee that, but they haven't. It's pretty obvious to me that they're not experienced in these kind of like making these large scale maps for team play. And then, that's the thing. I was already alarmed that it was Vince Zampella that was going to be one of the leads on this, which, nothing against him. He's done a lot for EA. Like he's basically like their hero. Like he's given them Titanfall. He also worked on Apex Legends and now BF6. So the issues in this, it just doesn't make sense. You can tell that it's catering to shoot, die, repeat kind of formula. There isn't really any kind of thought going into any of this stuff. The maps are laid out in a fashion there's bottlenecks, and then there's the lanes, very much like the COD game. There aren't any options here for let's say flanking. You're very limited in that regard. You can't really do much. It doesn't give you like any space. Everything's condensed down, because I get it. They want to have, constant, interaction between the teams, players, whatever, constant gunfights, all that. But, this is supposed to be Battlefield, not skirmish field, but it only really is in name. Because to me, this just seems like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 Ground War, the game. This is Ground War as a fucking game, alright? Because even with the team play, okay, let's go with classes, right? So Battlefield's known for its classes. None of the classes are distinct from each other as far as appearance. And let me say, appearance is important with classes. They all look generally the same. There isn't very much of a difference between how they look, and that is important. You need to have it be able to differentiate who's who. They generally look the same in this, and that is a problem because if, let's say, in a situation where I see, I don't know, like a T90 or some shit, we're trying to take him out, whatnot, and I see like a couple soldiers around there and whatnot. All right, not being able to tell what class is what kind of fucking screws with planning in your strategy, really, because okay, let's say if you were able to tell and it's, oh look, there is an engineer over there repairing this tank. Well, now you know that you probably should flank the tank and probably take care of that engineer first, because RPGs aren't really going to do much of anything if, especially if there's a group of them, right? So, like, shit like that, it's just jarring to me. You can tell that there wasn't a lot of thought put into a lot of these decisions that they made, because constantly you start to see that there are things that are counterintuitive to team play, which is vital for Battlefield, and it always has been. So you can't tell me that, yeah, alright, it's back. It's not fucking back, man. I'm telling you. Alright, so let's take, for instance, that support in this resupplies both health and ammunition. Now, I will say this, okay? I think it's cool that they added the ability to walk up to them in case, you end up with a fucking retard that doesn't know how to drop fucking ammo or, health, whatever, the supply box. So you can just go up to them, similar to what Hardline was able to do, which Hardline gets a lot of fucking flack, but you know what? Feels more like Battlefield than this does. Alright? But that's a cool feature, I'll give them that, that's pretty good. But then again, you can't tell, really, the difference between what classes until basically you see the fucking interact option. You see what I'm saying? So, and then to add on that, now gadgets like automatically like recharge. Like, what is this? That takes away from the team play. So it's like you get these stupid decisions, and it's just frustrating because it spits in the face of what Battlefield is. So with me, and I've been playing both Call of Duty and Battlefield from the very first games, when I was, I don't know, what, 13, 14, something like that. I played 1942, and then, COD, the first one came out, like, what, a year later? And you know what? Even then, you don't play them for the same reasons, alright? And I've liked them both since way back when, until things started going off rails recently. So, and that's the thing. You don't play these games for the same reasons, okay? They're completely different. Like, Battlefield has always had its own, identity as a large-scale, team-based, all-out warfare, right? There is a distinct difference between the two franchises, and this kind of, catering to the COD, because they're trying. That's what it's obvious that they are trying to bring in the COD crowd into this, and they've long since abandoned the BF like OGs and like what basically, not even just that, but what makes the series tick, why it's been what it is, and why it's been going for as long as it has. As it actually held up a lot longer than COD did. Now it's kind of funny because you kind of see those cycles happening every so often, right? So 2011, you saw the face-off between, that fall between BF3 and Modern Warfare 3, if you remember. And it's pretty obvious to me which one was better. And then, 2016? BF1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, right? Hilarious. COD had lost its identity back then. And, with BF1, it started to it was like a refreshing, like different kind of take with the World War One aspect, and then here we are again. So we got COD, uh, Black Ops 7, and now Battlefield 6. But the problem is I think they've both lost their way, because again, this isn't reminiscent of any of the other Battlefields. Now, I will say it's generally better than 2042, but again, the bar is so low. But yes, you play Call of Duty and Battlefield for completely different reasons. And this kind of like melding of the two that you see here with this one, it's diluted what Battlefield is, in my opinion. And I know I see that a lot with like a lot of the old folks, and I get it. We've had some of those meat grinder maps and stuff from the very beginning, right? Even in 1942, we had what, Stalingrad, and then what was it, like Vietnam? There was Saigon, I believe it was. Yeah, Saigon was one of the maps. So you see, that's fine. But the thing is, there are like 4 of these fucking meat grinder infantry only, either infantry only or infantry and ground vehicles condensed tiny fucking maps. There's no incentive really for the team play thing. I mean, you have the squad, and you can't tell who's in your vehicles. The compass isn't even activated by default. There are all these stupid fucking lines everywhere that show you like the borders of the capture points, or even with like the supply drops that the support can throw down, all that, and it's just fucking it's sensory overload and like visual fucking diarrhea. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. You have 5.56 assault rifles that sound exactly like a 9mm pistol. Healing is just way too fast, man. It's insanely fast. It's ridiculous. You can get into a gunfight with somebody, and within like 2-3 seconds they can start like regenerating health. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it just, I get it, they want to speed it up, but it's just, no, that's not what this is. It's not the way it should be. I get it if like someone's over a supply drop, but that is absolutely ridiculous, to the point that it's like infuriating, much like the stupid fucking Willy Pete thing. What is it, a thermal whatever launcher, which slows you down. You can't jump. You're stuck to the ground like, you're like some kind of fly trap or something. It's fucking ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't pair well with what Battlefield is. And then again, the other thing too is that even with suppression, do you remember how suppression worked in BF3? Where like things would get blurry, your screen would shake, is very disorienting. There's none of that here. Engineers can carry, 4 RPGs and 2 Stingers. That's absolutely ridiculous. Which apparently they're going to be working on that to fix it. But even then, you've nerfed things like helicopters. They just get locked on like immediately. There aren't really vehicle specializations, and from what I could tell, you also can't even get disabled like you could. Vehicles couldn't get disabled in this, from what I've seen. Like I've been shot at like near like blowing up, and still fly just fine. Which is like, again, this is a lesser game than Battlefield, like even Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. Yeah, so like it's been diluted, and that's just very sad, because everything controls, like the vehicles control very like, how do I put it? They're very floaty, so the characters are floaty as well. The tanks felt heavy and like powerful in the old ones, And then here, there's just like, it's just nimble, lightweight. It's exactly why it reminds me of Ground War, because they control exactly like COD vehicles, you know? And then same thing with the characters, like they don't have like that same weighty feel to them, which is fine. Like I don't expect like the Bad Company levels of like weightiness or anything, but even like 3 and 4 had a substantial amount of that where it felt like, you know, your character had like he wasn't just going to be like, you know, sliding everywhere, which again is really stupid in this, that they added that mechanic to this one in particular. I could understand something like BF1 whatnot, but in this I think it's fucking stupid because you're not gonna be wearing fucking full battle rattle sliding everywhere. You know, you've got like what, well over. Let's see, you got full kits, you got ACH, you know, a combat load, you know, and then a rifle. You're not gonna be fucking sliding everywhere. All right, I could tell you firsthand. Okay, you're gonna be clunky. You're gonna be fucking bumping into shit. You're gonna be running, you know, to fucking cover and slamming against walls and stuff like that. And then there's stupid shit like this. Like, what the fuck, Private? Are you trying to give us a goddamn fucking 1700 safety brief? Like, this is the kind of shit that, you know, a civilian would be like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that makes sense. That is fucking retarded. If I ever saw any of my privates do some shit like that, I would be so far up their ass that I'd be using them as a Muppet. All right, that's absolutely ridiculous, right? This is knife hand kind of like bullshit. I'm gonna take you and make you do lunges all goddamn day until I'm fucking tired of sitting there watching you do it. And then on top of that, I'm gonna write you an Article 15 and put you on extra duty for months. All right, and then on top of that, you're gonna get UCMJ'd and maybe court-martialed for being a fucking idiot. And you 19 kilos, you guys know what I'm talking about with this. Because if you've ever been around Abrams, where that's running, that engine burns at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. No, not happening, dude. You know what it reminds me of is when Battlefield Heroes came out, you could have passengers sit on the wings of the plane. That's the level of retarded that is. I don't know why you would include something like that. And don't get me wrong, all right, I'm totally aware of the ridiculous Battlefield moments, but to deliberately include something so obviously stupid. But yeah, I just find these decisions that they made very odd. They don't pair well with what the series is known for. It's a problem. And the game is shipping with 4 of these small maps, from what I saw, because I ended up looking into it, and there's like 5. I don't know. What is it? Liberation Peak, the one in this beta, that's supposed to be the large scale map. It's really not. It's very small. And I mean, like, you look at these, like the map, and you see like these 2 tiny lanes and stuff. And like I said, you can't really flank. It's a problem. You got that peak in the middle there. I think it's like where Charlie's located on the mountain, and it's a bottleneck. It's a problem. You should have different ways of dealing with the situation, and it takes away from, like, again, the strategy of the game. To make a little comparison here, they're trying to sell you on the destruction of BF6, but from what I've seen, it's very rigid, okay, compared to like what's been there before. Like you can see here, on Firestorm, which is also coming to the game upon release. Um, as you play like these big fucking maps, man, there's you see the destruction and the impact that you've made throughout the course of the battle. Okay, that's awesome. And from what I can tell, you don't really see that all that much in this beta, which, like, I'm hopeful that, you know, maybe they'll have that in the bigger maps. We'll see. But from what I've seen, everything seems kind of you know, super scripted, and it kind of again takes away from it, because what you're seeing right now is a game that's fucking 14 years old. and it still plays and looks phenomenal. And then like I don't see buildings getting demolished, you know, like you do here. Also, you have all these areas between like 3 and 4 where you have this vast space of options to go about taking over the points throughout the map and all that, and that's awesome. That is, in essence, what makes Battlefield Battlefield. This is what makes it like so special, is that there are moments of calm between, you know, the large-scale battle, right? So let's say, you know, you make it to an objective, you take it over, and then you gotta hoof it or drive or fly over to the next point. I've had moments where we've gone like getting wrecked by the other team, right? And then 2 people can completely change the course of a battle just because you have the option to like flank, hide, go around. Like you're not condensed to these small kill boxes that you see here on display in the beta. 4 maps out of like 9, that's too much, man. That's too much. It strips the game of the strategy, the planning. Those are some of like my favorite moments playing Battlefield, is like flanking an objective, like we're trying to push through, and you know everyone's getting taken out because like the enemy's like really fucking dug in. You know, they got like really good, you know, defended like fighting positions, and then you know what? Let's go around and let's fucking you know, let's low crawl down there and flank around them as a squad, and then fucking flank him, come around back, and start taking objectives, and then throw them off balance, and then have them send like, you know, other squads to fucking come over and take that over, and then that also relieves the guys on the other side of the front that are engaging them and whatnot. So now you're fucking making the team fucking move around so that they're not so, you know, well set up for their positions. And you see, this is the essence of what makes Battlefield tick. This has been stripped from what I can tell of in this beta. You don't have these kind of options. You don't fucking, oh, let's just keep charging in. This isn't World War I anymore, alright? We don't need the fucking tiny little kill boxes and, you know, the no man's land. You don't even have the option to counteract, like, the enemy. Because, again, you're stuck to these bottlenecks that you can't fucking flank. You know, you can't flank the fucking enemy. So you can't have situations where you're gonna break contact and you know, go around the enemy and try and maybe do like a pincer move or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no coordination, there's no commander, there's none of that, and it's just, again, diluted because they want to cater to the shoot, die, repeat crowd. Everybody's talking about how, oh, we're back. Yeah, we're back. And it's, no, we're not. We're not fucking back. I think the bar's so low that some people have like Stockholm syndrome for the series. They're gonna do with COD next time, maybe next year or whatever. Like, hey, we're going back to, we're returning to form. You know, this fall, we're returning to form, alright? No more of the Nicki Minaj's ass and Beavis and Butthead and all that bullshit. And then the other thing is they don't seem to be very confident about like where they're going with the weapon options here, because they've kind of decided to give everybody pretty much everything, which, again, like, yeah, you could say, okay, that's really nice to have, you know, a bunch of options. How could that be bad? But no, it also takes away from the strategy of the game, because then anybody can have a weapon to deal with, or, you know, stuff to deal with every situation, which, like, that again takes away from the team aspect of the game, because now you don't have people, you know, or specialize, things they specialize in. So now everybody's like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. That's what it is. It takes away from the team play and the strategy, and I think it's a bad decision. I think if they were to go through with that, I like the way they did it in BF4, where you had like what DMRs and like carbines or whatever SMGs. I think that's fine, because they are very like limiting, as far as they're very limiting in that, you have one that's like, primarily close range, and then the other one is like, yes, it might be longer range, but you're also dealing with the lesser rate of fire, because they're like semi-auto, right? Very limiting. Okay, that's fine. I think that's the better way to go about it, but it doesn't seem like they really know what to commit to. I personally think like not everybody should be able to have everything, but if you're gonna do that, go the route of BF4. That's my opinion. From what I've seen, there isn't much of a difference in like the biomes for the maps. It just seems to be a lot of fucking brown deserts in like urban areas. And that's about it. That's all we got. But we're getting Firestorm again. This will be the third time we get Firestorm in a Battlefield game. Think about that. Like, you could have picked anything else that hasn't even been like used yet, and it's not even like that map is highly regarded. I don't think it is. I mean, it's like okay. It's not terrible or anything. I like how open it is, You could have brought back like any other from the classics, and especially since it's been like well over 20 years now, whereas like we had jungles in like Guilin Peaks, these maps that had like so like multi-layered and like had like verticality and so many different options. Like I said, Guilin had like a cave and all that. And then there's like all these, other areas where there's like had all the peaks and stuff, and you could flank around. There's none of that. It's gone. We had Paracel Storm. You had Levolution. You had, Flood Zone, which you could blow up the dam and flood the map, dynamically changing the entire battle. Now you have to like swim everywhere or use boats and all that, and it completely changes the way the game is, because then if you go to the ground, you're basically screwed. A Sunken Dragon, or Operation Whiteout, or Nansha Strike, or Arica Harbor, Midway, or the Lost Islands, or Altai Range. Looking back on it now, I've played like some of the older games when they had their betas, and I was really looking forward to them after those. That actually got me like more invested in the game, so I couldn't wait to see what else there was in store. But here, for me, I just couldn't. I don't see anything here. Everything here is just a red flag to me, because they're again trying to cater to a crowd that has its own thing, and is turning this completely different thing into something to appeal to said fucking crowd, obviously COD. And that's never been what this series is known for. Me personally, I think what's going to end up happening is this isn't going to have any kind of longevity. I think the crowd that they're trying to cater to are just going to simply play this for the time being and chase the next shiny thing. This is going to get used for the time being for all the thrills and all that, the fucking Twitch, infantry shooting bullshit, and then it's gonna get discarded. This thing doesn't look like it has legs, man. Like it's been diluted from so many different aspects, top to bottom. It's a lesser game, from what I can tell. What's already here, it's lesser than pretty much everything that's come before it, from like the team aspect, the way the maps are laid out, to the controls of the vehicles, even the specializations. all that, it's a lesser game than what's come before, and I think this is it. And it's not even like that I want to be negative about it. It's just these are all very bad decisions, man. They don't make sense for this franchise. This was their chance, man. This is actually, it's not over yet. Like, they can still come back, and I hope they do, man. I really do. But this is the chance to really like bring people back in, and I hope they get around to fixing this stuff, because like there's potential here, but at the same time I can't shake the feeling that I'm playing Call of Duty doing its best Battlefield impression, basically Ground War, the game. And I think that's gonna be it, man. I think we'll see where it goes, but I don't have high hopes for this one. EA, for the love of God, please do not just outright dismiss like some of the things that fans are telling you. We really do need a server browser, because if we don't have that, like, the community will just die off. Like, that is what's kept those games going for decades. Now there are other issues that I didn't really cover. I think the issue with the tugs thing needs to be fixed. I think the copious amounts of screaming females is also an issue. Now, I know that, yes, there are women in the military. We even had some in the infantry, but it was predominantly male. So just hearing that all the time, and it's like ridiculously over the top. I think they should just give you the option, like I said, for the skins to, toggle that like off, or switch to like just male or just female, and just give people the option to toggle stuff off. All right, and then I mean that's the happy medium for everybody, right? And I do welcome new players. It's just, don't change what the franchise is about. That's my big gripe here, is like it's changing what the franchise is known for, and that you don't see that happening with COD. Like, it has modes like Ground War that like cater to, I guess, like maybe if BF players want to jump in there. But first and foremost, it is still very much a, corridor shooter type, small teams shooter, or free for all. But yeah, that's about it for me. And thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Do the thing if you want to. If not, that's cool. And hey, let me know what you think, because I don't know, I've given that stuff a lot of thought, and I just can't shake it. But I really do hope that they turn it around, because they've done it before, and I'm sure they could do it again. All right, well, I'll see you in Beta 2 this weekend, so cheers, everyone.